Hey guys, Akil Stokes here. Welcome back to another one of my weekly trading videos. I have a lot of new trading opportunities on my radar to share with you today. I also have a great lesson on how to become a more disciplined trader. I think it's going to be awesome for both newer traders and traders that have been doing this for a while but are kind of struggling to get to that next step, kind of like that boomer buster phase we talked about in this week's midweek markup video. Today's lesson on discipline was actually shared with me by or from one of the traders on our platform, and she shared with me this cool graphic that she put up talking about what helped me to be more disciplined when I started live trading. And what's cool is she ended up doing the whole kind of spelling discipline out and having each thing mean something, which is a lot more creative than anything I would do. I would just say 10 steps to becoming more disciplined, and that's probably what I titled this video uncreatively, right? But anyway, I want to read through these because I think these are going to be very helpful. And one is going to be demo trading, right? Enough reps placing orders, right? Demo trading. We talked about this before, right? People think they poo-poo demo trading. It's bad. It's pointless. What's the point of trading with real money? It doesn't have the same psychological effect. Yes, that's true. But I think people that say that, they have the wrong idea of what demo trading actually is. The demo trading isn't necessarily to simulate the same psychological effects as live trading. You can to a certain extent, but that's not the main purpose. The main purpose is to really take your car out for a test drive, right? Practice analyzing charts in real time. Practice going through the process of placing orders, placing the right type of order, placing the, do you need an OCO or one canceled the other, or, limit orders, how much you're taking off at target one, rolling stops, and all that fun stuff. It's getting reps, really running through how you would actually take trades. And a lot of the mistakes that we see being made come because traders just are placing the wrong type of orders or not doing the right type of things while in a trade. Next, the I is going to be instilling good habits from the beginning of my trading journey. And again, going back to kind of the demo trading and back testing and whatnot, we saw a lot of traders, including one this week, who will they come in under the impression that, it doesn't matter until I'm trading live, right? I can kind of do whatever I want because it's not live money, it's demo money, it's fake account, or it's a small amount of money. I can just play around with it. And no, right? And something we yell at traders on the platform all the time is that, hey, it doesn't matter whether you are trading live, trading big, trading small, demo, just learning. You need to instill those good habits from the beginning, right? If this is not something you're not supposed to be doing, like, a trade that doesn't meet your rules, you don't do it. I don't care if it's fake money and has no effect. You want to get those good habits started off on the right track. You want to start eliminating those bad habits right away, because Lord knows it takes a long period of time to uninstall a bad habit and replace it with a good one. So there's no need to kind of kick that can down the road. So good habits from the beginning is a very good one. S, security. Be financially stable, right? You should not be trading until you have a good grasp on your own financial situation. This doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be in a good financial situation, right? You could be in the process of working yourself out of it, but you need to have a plan, because if you're reckless with your personal money, your personal finance, you're going to be reckless in the market, right? It goes hand in hand. So make sure you're secure in your personal finance first, then go into trading or get serious about trading now that you have a better idea of what money is and how to manage risk and all that fun stuff. C, right? Your daily double, you get 2 for 1. Confidence and community. Having confidence in your system. This goes back to the belief cycle, right? Belief, action, results. The more belief you have in what you're doing, the more likely you are to take the right actions. The more likely you are to take the right actions, the more likely you are to get the right results. The more you get the right results, the more belief you have in yourself, and it snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger until you become kind of robotic. One of the hardest parts is getting that belief started, right? It's like pushing a car, right? Once a car is rolling, it's easy to push once the momentum is going, but that initial kind of getting it going, that rocking back and forth, that's typically a bumpy ride. And we see traders go through the same thing where they have 2 steps forward, 1 step back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And it's hard to develop that true belief. This is where community comes in, right? Having someone hold you accountable, having a community that's not going to cheer for you if you made money on a trade doing it the wrong way, that you can make $1 million on a trade, but if you broke your rules, they're going to say shame on you, right? So having that community that is supporting the right things, that are able to kind of give you the needed criticism, but also also there to kind of support you and catch you while you're down, and kind of rub you on the back and say, hey, we've been through this too. You'll get through it. Community is key, and that's one of the reasons that we centered our entire educational platform around community. A few years ago, I think it was, we were mentioned in Forbes magazine. Dr. Brett Steenbarger wrote a great article about kind of innovations in the trading space, and he featured us because we were one of the only platforms at the time. I'm sure a lot are doing it now, but we were one of the only platforms at the time that centered everything around that community element, because we know that, we've been teaching long enough to know that we can teach you everything in the world, right? If you go through this YouTube channel, you can probably find almost everything we teach about trading, right? I got like 800 videos here. That's not going to be the difference maker, right? That's not going to get you from zero to hero. It's really having people hold your hand and kind of boost you up and catch you when you fall during that journey that makes the biggest difference. If then syntax, there we go. Easy. Rules. Want to be as mechanical, as robotic, as binary as possible in the markets. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. When we organize a trading plan, it should be like we are a programmer. If not, then you're going to be in trouble. Let's put it at that. P, patience. Letting trades play out, right? Waiting for the right opportunities, etc. These are two good ones. One, once you're in a trade, let it play out. Don't do and play out could be good or bad, right? Don't stop yourself out early because you fear it's going to lose on you. Don't roll stops back, stuck on that hopium. I hope it's going to turn around. I hope it's going to turn around. I hope it's going to turn around. On the other side, don't take targets off early, right? Getting, it's good enough. Some money is better than no money, right? You can't go broke taking profits. Stupid statement, by the way. Mentioned that before. But letting trades play out, trusting yourself, it goes back to that belief. And also waiting for the right opportunities. I think summer is the perfect time to kind of touch on this topic, because summer typically slows down. We saw this week in the market, this was a heavy news week, as I warned you about in last week's video, right? So if you're not watching each and every week, you should, right? If an easy way to make sure you do so is to subscribe and hit that notification bell. That way you know when the videos come out. But last week was kind of a stop and go week where the market would bore you to sleep, and then boom, we get a lot of action and it would bore you to sleep. And summers are typically like that. The opportunities are there. They happen. They're just far and few between, and you can't get sucked into either, being undisciplined and not sticking to your trading routine and missing the opportunities that you're supposed to take. You also can't be suckered into taking trades that you're not supposed to take because you're bored and you feel this urge to do something. Next is losers and winners, accepting that they're not only winning trades, right? In fact, I like to break trades down into 4 categories, right? There are 4 types of trades. There are losing trades, there are winning trades, there are good trades, and there are bad trades, right? Our goal is to look at the good trades and bad trades. The good trades are defined by trades in which we followed our rules. Bad trades are defined by trades in which we don't, right? Process over outcome. A winning trade doesn't necessarily mean a good trade. A winning trade could be a losing trade, or a bad trade, excuse me. A losing trade doesn't necessarily mean a bad trade. A losing trade could be a good trade because you followed your rules and it just didn't win, right? Trading is a game of probabilities, right? If you can give me a system out there that wins 100% of the time, leave it in the comment section below. I'll give you all my money. I'll mortgage the house. I'll sell a kid. I'll have another kid and sell them too. I'll do everything to give you everything I could. But guess what? I'm confident in saying that because it's not going to happen. So accept that losses are going to be there. Full disclaimer, in case my wife is listening, I am not going to put up any of our kids or future kids, right? I identify the IPDE process being part of my routine. Identify, predict, decide, execute. If you haven't heard about this process, make sure you go back and watch some videos. I think this is a process that will put you in a routine. It is a massive help to any trader out there, no matter what type of style of trader you are. N, no control over the markets, accepting that the markets will do whatever they want, whenever they want to. Again, this goes back to probabilities, understanding that you could do everything right and still be wrong, and that's okay. You don't need to beat yourself up. Sometimes the market just isn't going to give you what it needs to give you. And then last, E, emotions, being able to control emotions. And I love the fact that she said control emotions, because we don't need to be emotionless, right? That is what human beings are, right? We have emotions. It's what makes us unique, for better or for worse. Our job is to not get rid of those emotions, because I'm sure that would have a negative effect on other aspects of our lives. Our job is just to control them, to not act on them, to, when we feel like we're in a heightened emotional state, to implement strategies that we can do to take ourselves out of that state, or at least be in that state, but get out of the markets, meaning away from your screen, so you're not taking action on that emotional state. So I thought this was an awesome list. If there's anything you would add, especially the veteran traders out there, let me know. Type it in the comment section below. And if you want more from Orsi, again, you can, I'll put a link to her Facebook page in the description box. Another good follow on Instagram is George. If you're looking for, again, some nice coaching, a little twist between not just technical analysis, but trading psychology and just helpful hints that you can log in and check each day that will help you on your path to becoming a consistently profitable trader. So I appreciate you sharing this with us, Orsi. It's going to touch a lot of people, which I'm happy about. Now, without further ado, let's get into the charts and let's talk about some of these trading opportunities that are on my radar. All right, so I got about 9 opportunities I want to share with you, and I'm going to run through them pretty quick. So we can always revisit these in the live room throughout the week in more detail. But we're going to start off here on the pound dollar. Pound dollar is actually one of the winning trades that I had this week. I'll tell you about the pound yen later, which was such a tease. Oh my gosh. But pound dollar is doing a few things. We just came off of a nice 26.18 opportunity. For you guys that are unfamiliar with 26.18, it is a double top right here, followed by a break and close of the structure that oddly looks like a face, which is kind of weird, but then a retest of that structure and then a move back down to our previous structure low. Some of you may actually see this as an advanced pattern formation as well. If you want to take your Fibonacci retracement tool out, this could be a Gartley, depending on how you're identifying your legs. Looking at something like this, an X to A, A to B, B to C, C to D, which would have completed right around here for a bullish Gartley pattern. So this would be a buy area. Regardless, I like the zone that we're in. I like the fact here in the 4-hour that we've put in 3 straight candles of high bearish momentum. And that bearish momentum, if I just erase this fib real quick, is coming right down into a previous level of structure. So I'm going to look for some type of hold here at structure support and a little bit of relief, meaning not a full-blown trend change in the other direction, but a little bit of a bump back up to the $1.38 level. And you can see coming down to really 137.40, somewhere in that area. That's a pretty healthy move in the market to look for. Next up is going to be the Euro Yen. Euro Yen's a little bit of a tease. If you look closely, it looks like we did break and close below structure. It looks like a full-blown trend continuation opportunity to the bearish side. But if we zoom out and even pop up to the daily here, you're going to see that we actually came to a previous level of structure support. And so far, we've been holding. Now, the next level of structure support that's going to stand out to me is going to be right down here at about 128.41s. And this is ultimately where my prediction is going to go to. But I want you to pay attention to this level for a few things. One, we got a pretty good close on the daily. For you guys that are in the foundation course, I know we talk a lot about candlesticks and kind of getting away from just judging them from being, hey, green bullish, red bearish. We look at how the formation or how the candle forms. And this most recent candle right here, the close of the week, right? Although it's a green candle, right? This is actually a bearish candle for me. It closes in the bottom third. You can see the bulls tried to push up for the day. And the result, this is supposed to be an arrow, right? The result was that they did get rejected. And although we didn't close at the bottom, we closed in the bottom third of this candle, which makes me think that, hey, we're going to see some bearish continuation here. And if we go down to the 4-hour, this formation gives us or paints us even a greater picture, right? Look at what price action has recently done, right? Again, we broke a previous structure low right here. We came down and then we came up. We refused, right, to break this previous structure high right here. We came down to retest the low. We did refuse to test the low, so there was a battle at this area of support, but we were only able to respond a little bit up before marking our way back down. Now, we do have to keep in mind it's the end of the week, so it'll be interesting to see how this continues during next week. But If we end up testing the lows again, right, that's that tight consolidation at the lows we talk all the time about in the live room. I would expect this to act like a descending triangle where we actually break out to the downside. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the analysis here, if we break out to the downside, where do I expect this to go to? Bang, right down here to 128.40s. Now, speaking of continuation, we're going to head back to the Aussie dollar. This is one we've talked about a handful of times, including in last week's video. We talked about sell Aussie, sell Aussie, sell Aussie. I remember saying that, hey, not just from a technical perspective, but if you look from a fundamental perspective with the risk on, risk off type of deals that the market go in, this is the perfect short. Right? You've got a safe haven dollar, you've got a risky Aussie, you've got people flocking towards safety and away from risk. This is the perfect short. And from a technical perspective, it matched up with that as well from a lower low, lower close. We have the same situation setting up this week. So a repeat, a secondary chance. You can see we ended the week with a lower low, lower close here on the daily. If we go down to the 4 hour, again, that gives us a clearer picture. We can see this. Boom, retest of structure support, little retracement off there, similar to what we're seeing with Euro Yen, and then boom, the lower low, lower close. So once again, right, like a broken record on the Aussie, look for continuation to the downside, look for, at least my personal style is I look for a pullback, and then another opportunity to get short and ride this bad boy down. Now, before we head into our next pair, I know I talk a lot about what we looked at in our previous videos, and I do want these videos to kind of piggyback on each other, meaning that many of the ideas that we talked about last week, we're going to revisit in the midweek markup on Tuesday, and some of those ideas we're going to revisit this week, right? Because especially on the higher time frames, analysis doesn't change all too much. But there is a lot of content I put out. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you check it out. Something that isn't on my channel, but is going to be one of the greatest up-and-coming YouTube channels out there is the Trader Coffee Break channel. And this week, Jason Greystone and myself had a nice conversation talking about the worst mistakes that traders make. So check it out. We cover some of the, especially if you're a newer trader, we cover some of the kind of the worst mistakes we've seen out there from traders, and most of them are kind of newbie mistakes that you make just because you don't know any better. So make sure you check out the latest episode of that Trader Coffee Break. I'll put a link in the description box below, as well as a little card thing at the top of this video. Now up next is going to be the Euro Aussie, once again on the 4 hour chart, and hats off Roberto. This is something that we looked at in the live room. You can see some of the notes are up there as a flag pattern that came down in the structure, and one of our traders, Roberto, nailed it, right? He ended up taking this on, I think it was Wednesday, a little bit different time zones here, but I think it was either Wednesday, his time zone, Thursday, mine. And congrats, man. We rode right up to structure where we thought we'd go. Now, the next step in this is really asking ourselves what's going to happen at this decision point, right? I like looking at previous levels of structure support or resistance as being decision points, meaning how price reacts at those levels is going to allow me to decide how I want to handle it, right? If we hold this level, usually you can look for counter trend situations. I don't necessarily think this is a good counter trend scenario. It could be, but we never know. But what's more appealing to me, I should say, is the potential trend continuation scenario, meaning that if we can break these previous structure highs, I think we can go up pretty significantly. If we go up to the daily, right, and shift out, you can see we have a few levels of minor structure that are in the way, but the main level that stands out to me is going to be this structure shelf right here around about really 61 evens, let's call it that. And you can see price action has previously hit this level here, 1, here, 2, here, 3, here, 4, here, 5. We even got under it and support turn resistance 6, 7. So I think we can rally from wherever this is at. What is this? 159.82. Basically, let's call it $1.60 to $1.61. So lots of potential here on the Euro Aussie if we can get a violation of our current level of structure resistance. Now, next is going to be the Aussie Yen or CAD Yen. These are both very similar, and these are other ones that we talked about, I believe, in last week's video, where these were trend continuation setups. Again, shorting that Aussie, in this case for the Yen. But look for something very similar to the Euro Yen, right? Same situation. We're coming down to retest previous structure support, right? Going back on the daily, this is already a trend continuation situation where we came down, We retested previous resistance turn support, and we're looking for a continuation lower. But same thing as the euro yen. You see how we've come down to test support. We've come down. We didn't really get that much of a push up, and we ended the week at the lows. Wait for a breakout of this level. And again, you can trade that however you trade breakouts. If you're aggressive and you want to trade during the break, that's fine. If you want to wait for the break and close, that's fine. If you want to wait for the break and the close and the retest, that's fine, right? That's one of those, we talked in the live room this week about different ways to enter from conservative to aggressive and the pros and cons of each. Doesn't matter how you do it. It's whatever you fancy. The point is be on a lookout for a bearish break here on both the the Aussie yen and both the Canada yen, very similar in how they're setting up. Next up is going to be the Euro Swiss. This is could be a potential head and shoulders, or if not a head and shoulders, a head and shoulders type of setup. However you want to look at it, what I'm looking for is the violation of this level. Again, this is one of those structure swap or ice zone levels where you can see previous structure support. Come on now, support, there we go, was broken and then immediately became resistance, resistance, resistance. We failed to get any type of significant follow through to the downside, and now we're just hanging around these highs again, and I'm expecting some type of battle, right? The bulls versus the bears, who will win at this level? And again, as a trader, I don't care. I'm predictive in my analysis, reactive in my results. So I'm not trying to buy or sell it right here, anticipating one way or the other. I want to wait for the market to give me that clue. And for me, the biggest clue would be a break and close of this level to the upside. And if we can get that break and close to the upside, my projection point is going to be right in here. And this is a good opportunity for bulls to trade it from, 108.70s all the way up to about 109s, 109 even. So a decent potential, a decent trade potential here on the Euro Swiss. Now I got one more pair to show you, but I want to give you a quick update on how my trading has gone so far. I know I've been doing this in the email that comes out every week, but I believe I edited it out of last week's video just because I didn't want to waste too much time and make these things too long. But my trading's been kind of slow. It's been hit or miss. I'm still up for the year. I'm at 23% for the year, which is good. But since I last updated you here on YouTube, which I think was the beginning of July, so a few weeks ago, it's just been kind of blah, right? I had a good week this week. I had a bad week the previous week and been kind of going sideways. I was close to making this a good week, or turning this from a good week to a very good week with a very good trading opportunity here on the pound yen. And this was going to be a stop and reverse. And I want to share this with you just because I think it was cool. So if you remember, I took this trade last week. Again, this was another one we mentioned in the weekend video. You got to subscribe, right? Don't fall behind. Stay in the loop. This is one that I took last week at a retest of structure right here. And it didn't go straight up. It kind of started going up, then it came back down. And in the middle of that, it ended up forming an advanced pattern formation. And we spoke about this in the live room, saying this is the rare example of when I can use a stop and reverse, right? And a stop and reverse means that it's a situation where you stop yourself out of one trade and immediately reverse and go the opposite direction. So like if you're someone, I don't know, I have basketball in the mind, but back when I used to play basketball, we used to do these things called suicides, where we'd run all the way down to a certain line and we got to touch it and then run all the way back, right? Think about it like this. So the idea was this, right? I was trading it down here. Originally, my targets were up a little bit higher. I adjusted them a little bit lower. I was going to take off targets at the completion of our advanced pattern formation, right? Remove profit and then immediately get short and try to ride that advanced pattern formation down. And you're probably looking at this chart saying, Akil, this looks good, right? The only problem is, right, if we zoom in, you see this blue line right here? Yeah, that blue line is where I needed price to go. You see where price went? Not quite to that blue line. So not only did I miss out on targets from the bullish trade, I did end up rolling stops a little bit, so I lost only about 2/3 of what I originally planned on losing for the trade. But not only did I miss out on winners of the bullish trade, but I missed an opportunity to get in the bearish trade. This could have been one where if I nailed both of them, a good week could have easily turned into a great week, and it's sometimes it's that close, trader. Sometimes it's that close. And sometimes you're going to be on the bad side of it like I am, but when you're on the good side of it, that's when all that work is worth it. And you're like, man, like if that one trade or that one scenario of multiple trades made a difference. And we live for those moments. We live for those moments to take advantage of them. And, you know, again, when it doesn't happen, like Orsi mentioned earlier, losses happen. We deal with it. But very, very close. A good week could have been a great week that close. So just wanted to share that because I thought it was cool. We don't see that too often here in the markets. And you guys like laughing at my misery, so laugh away. All right, so lastly, I want to go over to the Nasdaq. If you've been following these videos all year, you know my opinion on the Nasdaq. Buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. And we are dipping right back into a nice little rejection zone right here, a little inside, little pregnant pause, consolidation breakout as well. If we go down to the 4-hour, right, you can see us getting deeper into that zone, and you can look for maybe a 1-to-1 measured move here, right? If we take the equal length or the equal measure of our previous move down and we just copy and paste that down to here, you can see that we're going to have a 1-to-1 measure move or an AB equals CD pattern right at the lows of this consolidation. So this would be a good point to load up on some longs. Again, you don't have to risk too much, especially if you're holding to the upside. If you're super tight with your stops, you can get them right below this level of structure, the blue box. I'd be a little bit more looser, honestly, if you could, and get them below this sneaky level as well, because it wouldn't surprise me if we spiked down and kind of tested the realms of these lows too. But again, if you're trading this or investing in this, you're holding for not just a retest of the highs, which will get a 1.5-to-1 risk reward, but an extension as well. So that's it for this week, guys. As always, leave me some comments if you have any questions or you just want to say, hey, Keel, awesome video. Make sure you subscribe. That way you don't miss the next one. And until next time, there you go. Plan your trade, trade your plan. Have a great weekend.